I might upon you, Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Blessing of the new moon. Barakatha Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Athalanawa, Akadash, Bashalawam, Thawada, Aman. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the new moon and peace. Thank you, so be it. Taha'ayim A'ad Asherayim Akkad, Psalms 121. Anya, Harayim, Ayanyim Ya, Oh, Haharim, Ma'ayan, Yabawa'a, Isaiah, Yabawa'a, Mayahawa, Sha'isha, Shamayim, Wa'arataza, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Yanawam, Shashamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashun, Shashwamar, Yashirallah, Yahweh, Shamarya, Yahweh, Tazalia, Ayam, Yad, Yam Yad, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Hakaya, Wayarak, La'a, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarya, Makal, Ra, Yashamar, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashamar, Hawalakya, Wabawa'aya, Ma'aitha, Wa'ai, Aiwalam, Bahasham, Yahawashai, Thawada, Aman.
Psalm 121. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From hence comes my help. My helps come from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by night, nor moon by day. Oh, the sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming from this time forth ever, forever, more. Amen.
Amen. Shema Yasharella, hear, O Israel. Shema Yasharella, Yahweh, Allah Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yasharella, Yahweh, Allah Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yasharella, Yahweh, Allah Yahweh, Echad.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Amen.
Amen. Apollah Yahweh, the Lord's Prayer. Abi Yanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwithka, Saba'ah, Ratazawanka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Ka, Bashemayim, Nathalanawa, Lakam, Yowum, Za, Wasalaklanawa, Kabawathnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kababath Yanawa, Wala'a, Habayanawa, O Nasayawan, Abo, Hawashinawa, Marah, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatha Pa'ara, La'aywalam, Amen.
Matthew 6:9. After the manner of therefore pray. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our debt as we forgive our debtor. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Ha'asherah Matazawaf, the 10 Commandments. La'ah, Yahaya, Laka, Alahayim, Akarim, Alpanya, La'ah, Ta'aisha, Laka, Paso, Wala'ah, Ta'ibadam, La'ah, Talakwaka, Shamwa, Yahweh, Alahayaka, Lashua, Zakar, Ath, Hayawam, Hashabath, La Kodashwa, Kabad, Abiaka, Wa'amaka, La'ah, Taratazat, La'ah, Sana'at, La'ah, Saganab, La'ah, Ta'aina, Shakur, La'ah, Zakamad, Ko, Asherah, Lara'ayaka, Amen.
Exodus 20:3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. Shalt thou not bow thyself down to them or serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, is a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the father upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and shew mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou shalt not, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, not thy maidservant, not thy cattle, not thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day, where the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that that day may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God give thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything within what is thy neighbor. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat, be seated.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, of the name of Yahweh Shah, that give us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, or so be it. To Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh with Israel, and Yahweh Shah with Israel.
Madwa Panywa Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Barakah Yahweh, Hagadol, Rakhwam, Abiyah, Wanara'ah, Aliyawan, Malak, Shal, Shemayim, Wa'aratazah, Wakol, Dabaryam, Kayayam. Wagam, Hamashiach, Mayahawa, Alawan Ahabnawa, Hapla, Yawaitazah, Yahawashah, Zakar Yahweh, Barataza 1, Ainka, Yasha'Allah, Izar Nawa, Bana, Wa'asap, Yasha'Allah, now Nawa, Yum Yun, Aitha, Kayawamyam, Bakwadam, Baba Kushah, Shalat, Mayaka'Allah, Wahataza Wadak, Alahayim, La, Maganawa, Rapanawa, Washamar, Alnawa, Ba'ikwa, Shalat, Haroka, Shal, Yahawashah, Lanawa, Lalamadnawa, Rabiam, Kakama, Sabawana, Wada'if, Shal, Dabarka, Bahasham, Yahawashah, Thawada, Thum Yad, Wa'iwalam, Aman. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth, and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahweh Shai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel. Most high, we beg you, right now, like the days of old. Please send Michael and the righteous powers to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahweh Shai to us, to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always and forever. So be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the law. Barakah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Athalanawa, Hathawara. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us light to see. Barakah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Athalanawa, Owar, Lara Awath. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the ram's horn to call the people. Barakah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Athalanawa, Quran, Ha'ayal, Laquara, Ha'aim. Yeshabah, be seated. right. Shalom, Yashala. Those listening on the teleconference, those watching on the live stream, again, peace unto all Israel. Happy new moon, which is the second new moon of our calendar year. Coming off the Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now we're entering into another month, which will have another solemn assembly at a certain point in this month, which if you don't know, please go and read your history, give you a hint. It's found in the Apocrypha. It's coming up soon. So go and check your flyers or your notes if you don't know the next solemn assembly that's coming up in the second month. But for right now, in order for us to determine what that is, again, this is a happy start to the second month or the second new moon. All right. So we are Hayashal Kanas, which is a congregation of Israel, where we teach the law, statutes, and commandments found throughout the Old Testament, New Testament, as well as the hidden books known as the Apocrypha, also found in the King James 1611 version Bible, where we go through the high holy days, as far as for what we just mentioned, Passover, Feast of the Dedication, Feast of Tabernacles, First Fruits, so forth and so on. Deal with the moral and civil laws found throughout the Bible, as well as the dietary laws, the testimonies as well, that the Most High has given to us to read so we can understand how to discern between good and evil in keeping the Most High's commandments and battling against temptation. So again, this is the second new moon. We will be having a new moon service, going through some scriptures pertaining to the new moon and things that the Spirit may lead us to talking about this evening. My name is Kahan Samat. This is Kahan Manashah, and we'll be presiding over tonight's new moon service. So what I want to do is begin in the Apocrypha, in Ecclesiasticus chapter 33. Ecclesiasticus chapter 33. And I'm going to read from verse 7. Reading this because yesterday we had the privilege of meeting with a brother at his church, and I think one of the first things that we got into is understanding what their beliefs was, or what his beliefs was for his congregation. And I think we asked about the Sabbath, and keeping the Sabbath, what day to keep the Sabbath, and the brother said that he understands what day, what the Sabbath is according to the scriptures, but I like to keep it on this day, is what he mentioned. But when you read the scriptures, it's not about what we like, right? It's what the Most High wills. So I think that personal, that selfish ideology of I do it on my own time, I do it when I want, where I want, is not a discipline, or not an obedient servant or a follower or a Christian to the Most High and Yahushua. Because as we'll read, it's the Most High that distinguishes or determines or commands us on where, how, and what we're supposed to be doing as we make this journey, this current journey in this present life, right?
He also mentioned too that they changed it.
Oh, yes, yes.
He said they changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, he mentioned the Catholics.
The Catholics, correct, right. Correct. He said they changed it. He said they took the authority and changed God's law,
right,
to what they wanted it to be.
Right. So we'll get two other scriptures after this one, right? So this is Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 33, verse 7. it says, why does one day excel another when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun, right? So what makes one day greater, right? More important or less important when as we look at the day itself, it all looks the same, right? If you have nothing to reason with to say, hey, this is a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, or this day is going to be this event or that day is going to be that event, they're all the same. I can recall when I'm sometimes when I'm working overseas and it's a repetitive work schedule where you're working, you know, I'm forced to work 7 days a week. You lose track of days because there's nothing to distinguish the one day from the next because they're all the same. Mm-hmm. So then you fall victim to saying, well, what day is it? Right? It's like the sun came up. I don't know if it's Wednesday, if it's Sunday, I don't know. Right? So this is the rhetorical question. What makes one day excel over another when all the light of every day in the year is of the sun? Verse 8, by the knowledge of the Lord, they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. So the Most High, in the beginning, right, he began to alter the days, distinguish the days, the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day, right, which would complete a full week. On that seventh day, he rested, right? So just on that alone, we have an understanding of a timetable, just on days within a week, which constitutes a month, which constitutes a year, right? And then he will begin to give us information on how to distinguish one from another. And then he even put a phenomenon of having different seasons around those months within a year, right? And then within those seasons, he gave us high holy day or feast days that we would come before him and worship, right? So like right now we're in the spring season, Passover's in the spring season, determined by the first new moon of the month in that time. The Lord distinguishes that. Later on, when the summer season comes around, there's going to be another feast day that the Most High with knowledge says, at this time on this day is when you come before me and worship, based on the information that's provided. So it's the Most High that's giving us the information on how to obey and worship and follow him, right? It says in verse 9, some of them hath he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them he have made ordinary days. So we know there's certain days, like what we just talked about, aforementioned, are high holy days. The Most High tells you in Deuteronomy 16, there's 3 main high holy days during the time when we came out of Egypt and we were in the wilderness, right? Passover, unleavened bread, Feast of the Tabernacles, or Feast of Booths, as well as the Feast of the First Fruits, also known as the Pentecost. Then later on, we also added on the Feast of the Rededication of the Altar. Those are main high holy day feasts that we keep towards the Most High, right? And then we have other solemn assemblies as well. Day of Atonement, Memorial Feast, a memorial blowing of the trumpets, Day of Judas, Purim, right? These are the days that the Most High has distinguished and given us. Then it says he's made ordinary days. So an ordinary day is a day that the Most High does not provide a knowledge to distinguish it to make it higher than another. Those are days that we now can have freedom or reign to do our own pleasures or have our own things going on those days, right? And that's it on that. So I'm going to go also to the book of Exodus, chapter 31. Exodus 31 and 13. So Exodus 31:13 says, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, right? So the Most High uses that word, it says, my Sabbaths you shall keep. It's the same thing with the new moons. These are the new moons that the Most High has given us. These are the feast days that the Most High has given us. So they're his that he's given to us to worship and keep. Not our own, that we now have power to say, I'm going to make it what I want to make it. I'm going to change it and make it on this day. Right? Because like you said, the brother said the Catholics took power or control over it and made it on the day that they wanted to make it. Which, who are the Catholics? Who is man that he has that power control to alter or change what the Most High has instituted? Right? We've always said, the Most High said his word doesn't go out void. So if he said this is my Sabbath and I want it to be kept on the seventh day, who is man to come and say, well, I think we should change it to this day because it feels good for us. And he said, I like it on that day.
Yeah.
I like it on that day.
Exactly what he said.
A lot of people have this philosophy or ideology that whatever feels good to them, that's how or when they can do it. Not what the Most High knows is good for both of us. It's best for him because that's the day he chose. But who's to say that, you know, a lot of times on like Halloween or New Year's or all of these worldly events that people go to and something tragic happens, right? Someone was caught in the crossfire at this party on New Year's Eve night because it got a little crazy and reckless, right? How do you know the Most High just said, well, you know what, since you want to defy me and keep that, I'm going to allow this to happen? Because the Most High will protect you if you in the spirit and you in a righteous state of mind to go and keep his day. He'll protect you in all ways possible to have you be able to worship him in peace along with the brethren. Because this is what he desires for us, to come in and enjoy each other, fellowship with one another, as well as to praise him, right? So here again it says, speak thou also to the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. So pay attention to that, because it says it is a sign between me and thee, meaning this is going to be the agreement, the bond between us that says, hey, if I see you there, I know that you're following me. If I find you here, I know that you're worshiping me. But if I don't see you there, then I'm not with you. Because he says that's when he will sanctify us. Sanctify meaning cleanse, purge on all iniquity. But now if you say, I want to do it on something else, you're not sanctified to the Most High. You're not baptized to the Most High, right? And one more to go with this, Mark. Mark 7. Mark 7 and 7. Say again? Yeah, I thought about that. I'm gonna start from 6. You're right. Mark 7 and 6. I'm gonna read down to 8.
That was the first book that popped in my head. Popped in my head before we started saying a whole bunch of stuff that we
need to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Mine too. But I was curious to just hear him continue to speak, just to see what, you know. Sometimes, you know, right off the bat, kind of want to become a swordsman and chop right away. You know, like, oh, this guy done put his foot up, I'm about to cut him. But then sometimes I'm like, let me be a little bit patient. I want to see how far this goes, see where this is going, and then you know, sometimes the spirit just wants you like, I got to hold on, right?
Sometimes you just let them feed themselves.
Yeah,
feed themselves enough rope. They end up usually hanging themselves anyway.
Yeah. So Mark 7 and 7. I'm sorry, 7 and 6. It says, he answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites as it is written, right? It is again. He's like, where did he read from the Old Testament? Right? Where did he quote? Where did he teach from the Old Testament? Right? It's right here, right? Isaiah said, as it is written, this people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me, right? So, you know, in their minds, in their heart, which is deceitful above all things, they think that they're following and serving the Most High in Christ, right? Without having the knowledge, they think that they're serving the Most High in Christ. But he pretty much said he's following the theologians. He's following the Catholics, not what's in Scripture, not what's in law, what's in the testimony, what's in the commandment, not even what's in the New Testament, right? That was even interesting. As you started to go further and further into it, he don't even deal with the New Testament. It's all on emotion. It's all on his own conviction, right? If you paid attention, the brother said Christ didn't need that there because he had it here, right? Then he began to say the same thing. Why do I need Paul? Or why do I need? I already know it. I only give it to them because they don't know it, right? So it says again, this people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrine the commandments of men. Right? A lot of times people don't realize that they're just men pleasers, or they're just following what they heard. They don't usually actually justify their sayings based on what the Most High Christ or what the Scriptures say. Is based on what they got from somewhere else, right? We could even get into high holy days and things, because I know they don't do anything with the high holy days, right? Let alone the Sabbath on the wrong day, let alone even the Sabbath and the principle. Even if they're doing it on the wrong day, the principles or the statutes associated with the Sabbath day, they don't even do, right? It says, for laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do. So they were just focused on pots and cups, but as Yahushua ended it, it says, as many other such like things. That's those things that you read about you see when you go to the churches. Outside of pots and pans, they're so focused on. It's the other stuff that they're like, oh, you didn't do that. Oh no, you're not really a real Christian because you didn't follow this other man-made tradition, as opposed to a tradition that was given to us by the Most High, a statute that was implemented and commanded for us to follow. They don't care about those, right? Their heart now justifies them and what they want to do. So when we look at the Sabbath and the new moon and the high holy days, it's not for us. It's all, I always look at it like it's us going to the Most High's or Yahushua's event, right? You know, sometimes somebody actually go to a birthday party, or actually go to a dinner, or they actually go to somewhere, and you look to say, okay, I gotta get something, I gotta prepare some food, or I gotta bring a peace offering, or bring a bottle of wine, or this is like that for the Most High. And we're coming to honor them on their day, right? Hey, congratulations, salute, but this is on a much higher level. And at the same time, while we're there, we fellowship with one another, right? The same way the host or the person who's throwing the event would like to see the patrons that's there all having a good time, all in perfect harmony, no issues, no schisms, right? Like Psalms 133, brethren dwelling together in the unity. That's what the Most High and Yahushua are looking at as we all congregate, whether it's in this school and that country and that place. We all come together in perfect harmony to worship and serve the Most High on his day, right? So here, again, just going off of what, we continuously encounter, most folks are blinded into not realizing the very thing that they're negating in Scripture, or the practice and rituals that even the tradition that Yahushua left for us, their salvation is slipping away. Time is of the essence.
There's also a thing, the same gentleman said yesterday about, he likes to do it. He likes to do it on this day. He likes to do it on Sunday. He said, yeah, I know about the Sabbath. But I like Sunday, right? And as you mentioned, just to add to what you said, as far as the Catholic Church, when it changed, they change the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. And the scripture tells us that no man has authority to change what the Most High has set up.
Right.
If we go to Revelation chapter 22, verse 18 and 19, which is the last chapter of the Bible. He made sure that's the last thing we read. We read in the Bible to make sure everything is as it is written, not as you like, not as let me pick and choose, the way it is written. So Revelation 22 verse 18 read, "For I testify unto every man that heareth the word of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plague that are written in this book." Verse 19. "And if any man shall take away from the word of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book." So no man has the authority to change what the Most High said. The Most High says he rested on the seventh. He rested. He worked 6 days. On the 7th day is the Sabbath. You rest on the 7th day. So you come along and change it because you don't like it. You want to go against the Most High. So the Most High has the reward for you for doing that. So just want to make everyone to be aware that no matter what the Catholic Church said, no matter what they do, they are not worshiping the Most High. They doing their own thing. They following men. They're not following the word of the Most High.
Right, and we always say Yahushua comes in the volume of the book. For those persons who usually like to only deal with the New Testament, right? So the Most High in the spirit of things has it where for those who are only Old Testaments, the Lord has the scriptures, the understanding in there. For those that are only New Testament, it's in there, right? So the same thing that we're reading here in Revelations, Yahushua is in the volume of the book. So it's in the Old Testament as well. When you read in Deuteronomy 4 and 2, he says, "Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your power, which I command you." Same thing in Deuteronomy 12:32. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. Which is pretty much to say, whatever I say,
that's what it is.
That's what I say. That's what you got to follow. Not what they say, not what he say, but what I say, right? It says, "Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it," right? So it's the same spirit throughout the scriptures. And that's what people don't realize, that throughout the Bible, everything is in unison with one another, right? It's not that it should be done away. It's not should it be altered and changed and flipped and made to do something other than what it is that the Most High commanded us to do, right? So it's the same thing.
I just want to add to what you just said. Everything in the Bible is in perfect union, perfect harmony. If the Most High, the Most High is great. The Most High created the heaven and earth. The Most High is perfect. So by you saying that the Old Testament is done away with, you're saying God is not perfect. That's it. They don't realize that's exactly what they're saying. So you actually going against the Most High. So the key thing is always to realize that everything from Genesis to Revelation, it is there for a reason. And like I said, everything is written aforetime for our learning. So it's there for a reason for us to learn from it. Also to learn from our ancestors, the mistake that they did. So we could learn from those examples and know exactly what to do. So everything's written in this book for a purpose. That, like you mentioned, Christ said, "I come in the volume of the book." So that's Genesis to all the way to Revelation.
Right. And just to add on, when you read in Hebrews 8th chapter, Hebrews 8:6 to 8. Hebrews 8th chapter, the 6th to the 8th verse. So it says, but now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. So this is he is Yahushua, who's now obtained an excellent ministry, a more excellent ministry, right? And he is the mediator, the go-between for a much better covenant, right? The original covenant was always with the Most High and Israel. Now he's come to establish a more better covenant than what it was before. Now it's going to let you know what that pertained to. It says in verse 7, for if the first covenant had been faultless, then shall no place have been sought for the second. So the Most High gave us his commandment, his laws, and then said that he would be a power unto us if we kept those commandments. He'd set us up on high, right? And then we had to go and make the shedding of blood or a sacrifice to make that covenant bound, right? And all Israel said, yes, Most High, yea, we'll do it. Come, bowed and worshiped. But then the Lord says, if the first covenant had been faultless. So when people look at that, they see, there was problems with the law. There was problems with that Old Testament. See, if the first one had been faultless, then we wouldn't have had to have Christ come from the New Testament and give us a new covenant. That's why we don't deal with that, because that had fault in it. But as it reads, it says in verse 8, for finding fault with them. The them is the people, our ancestors, right? We were the wrong, or the ones that had the problem with the Most High. We are the ones that the Most High had a fault with, not the law. The law was perfect. We was just pig-headed, stubborn, stiff-necked, fell bound to temptation that we had to go follow the other nations, and we disregarded the law and broke the covenant, right? Disannulled the covenant by not keeping it. So it's like an agreement between two people. If you say, listen, I'm going to be here at 8 o'clock. You're going to be here? Sure. We swear on it. Blood, shake, and everything else and all that other stuff. And 8 o'clock comes, you're not there. But the other party's there. He kept his end of the bargain. Everything that he said he was going to bring is there. You not there. So it wasn't the fact of him being a problem. It was the other party. Same thing with us. Our ancestors were the issue. So the commandments, those new moons, those Sabbath services, the Sabbaths, the high holy days, the dietary laws, all of that's still perfect. I was just talking with another person Sabbath morning about the dietary law, and no, well, in the New Testament, you could just pray over it and everything is fine. Well, why is that so simple to do now? Why we couldn't do that same thing in the Old Testament? If it was just that simple, why weren't we able to just pray over it in the Old Testament? Well, I'm just saying, it just makes you think the Most High is that complicated, where if he gave us a law and said, don't do it, and if you do this, it's an abomination, and some people will put to death, now all of a sudden it's just simply done away? Does that make sense? People died, gave up their lives. Now it's just like, all right, fine, don't worry about it. Right? Nah. The Most High says the fault is with us. We are the ones who lacked understanding and discipline and perseverance and patience. So we had to come back full circle through Yahushua to get it right. So that was Hebrews 6. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 6 to 8. I'm going to go to 1 Chronicles. Second Chronicles, not First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, chapter 8. Go ahead.
I'm going to read this as a link to what you brothers were bringing out. Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 5. Proverbs chapter 30, verse 4 and 5. Just to go along with the Most High, not supposed to change anything. Yeah, 5 and 6. Like Proverbs chapter 30, verse 5 and 6. It reads, every word of God is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. Verse 6. Add thou not unto his words, lest he reprove thee, and thou be found a liar.
Good. All right, so this is 2 Chronicles, the 8th chapter and the 12th verse. So it says, then Solomon offered burnt offerings unto Yahweh, or the Lord, on the altar of the Lord, which he had built before the porch, right? Because we know the Most High favored King Solomon to build him a temple. King Solomon built the temple for the Most High as well. He built himself a nice house, which was near the temple, not too far from it, right? So it says here that he went and offered the burnt offerings unto the Most High, which he had built before the porch. Now it says in verse 13, even after a certain rate every day, offering according to the commandment of Moses on the Sabbaths and on the new moons and on the solemn feasts, 3 times in the year, even in the feast of the unleavened bread and in the feast of weeks and in the feast of tabernacles, right? So we see here that when Solomon had the offerings that were supposed to be offered unto the Most High, it says it had to be done according to the rate that the Most High had in the commandments. Now you read those in let's say Numbers 28 and 29, when the Most High gives you how many sacrifices or animals are supposed to be made on the Sabbaths and on the new moons, as well as on the high holy days, right? This is the same commandment that now Solomon is keeping in his time throughout the generations of Israel. He's keeping that same statute. You can't deviate from it, right? Can't see in the law and it says, oh, on this day during the Feast of the Tabernacles, we're supposed to do on the 4th day 2 rams, 10 bullocks. I'm going to do 4 bullocks and I'm going to do 11 rams because it just seems better, right? No, it has to go according to the commandment, right? A commandment is a declarative. It's like saying, listen, you must do this. Go here and do this way, right? It's not, well, however you feel like, I just need some sacrifices. Whatever you think is good, then go ahead and do that, right? That's how we interpret it, or that's how the people interpret it. It's the meaning that they can do whatever they want on those days for those sacrifices, for those offerings, right? Don't eat this. Well, I think you're just talking about just back then. I can do that now. Today, it's just, times change. We need to adapt to the times and changes. Where the Lord tells you throughout your generations, we're supposed to do this and keep this. Not just because of a certain period in time. It's throughout our generations, these things are supposed to be kept, right? So that was 2 Chronicles 8, 12 to 13. You gonna say something? Oh, okay.
Like to pull Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Start at verse 5. One thing about the Most High and Israel is that the Most High could have chose any nation to be his nation, but he chose the nation of Israel.
Man, he's happy to be a part of the nation of Israel, right? Brother.
He chose the nation of Israel. And he said, we are a holy people unto him. He gave us the law. He didn't give the law to everybody else in the world. That's what makes us unique compared to everybody else out there. And this is why when we come together in these these assemblies, we have to definitely take it more serious and put a lot more into it, because he said to sign between me and you. So that's why it's very important when we come together, we really have to put a lot of into these high holy days and do it with a lot more passion. Deuteronomy 4 verse 5 reads, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment, even as the Lord my God commanded thee that he should do in the land whither he go and possess it." Verse 6, "Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." So the other nation is going to look at us. It's like, wow, I wish I could be part of that. I wish that was me. I wish I was chosen. But we were chosen. So we have to be that representation. I said, Christ said, "Go be the light." We're supposed to be that light on that shining hill when people look at us as a nation and respect us as a people, because we were that chosen one. So it's very important when we get together, any of these, the Sabbath, the new moon, any solemn assembly, we really have to put a lot more into it and do it with such more passion, because we have to take a lot more pride in us. We have to take pride in the Most High. We have to take pride in doing these, keeping these laws. It's very important. We have to say, every day you wake up and you are a part of this nation, we have to think the Most High. Then I'm glad I'm on this side, right? So it's very important that we take these a lot more serious and really and do them. So let me just continue. Verse 7 says, "For what nation is there so great, who has God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?" So we really have to like I said, put a lot more into it as we do in these days, and take it a lot more serious, because we are unique. We are holy people, as he calls us. So we should definitely, like I said, keep saying, I can't stress it enough. Put more pride and more passion into keeping these laws and keeping these high holy days.
Psalms 31 and 23. Psalms 31 and 23. And it reads, "O love Yahweh, all ye his saints, for Yahweh preserveth the faithful, and putteth to the wicked the proud doer."
Right. So there's a good pride and an evil pride.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of following up with the spirit, coming out of the Passover, of us, starting to abound. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick in First Chronicles 15, I think. First Chronicles 15 and 58. So I think every now and again, we talk about that race. It's a marathon race. Certain times when you're running in that marathon, and you get that Charlie horse, or out
of breath.
You're out of breath, or you parched. You need a little bit more, something to drink. And you're like, oh man, I know the next marker, they're gonna have bottles of water for me. But man, there's a bit to get there, right? And and you're and you're thinking of you know, slowing down, taking a break, catching your breath while you're standing on the side, you know, you're being distracted. You're not running no more. You don't stop. Taking the scenery and everything else, but you still have to continue in that race. And what happens is, you know, it's not to say that it's not normal. It happens, but you always still got to keep your eye on the prize and keep moving forward and continue to move forward, right? You may stop for a moment if that happens, but you can't turn back. You can't look to the side. You got to just keep your eye on that forward marker and say, all right, I'm still looking there. I'm a little down right now. Whatever happened got me down, but I'm going to still press forward. And understanding all the things that the Most High has promised us, right? We've been given the vision to see the Most High, see and understand the Most High's mysteries, see and understand what the Most High has in store for the end, for those who overcome. But that's still not enough. We still got to get there. We still got to put our brick in. We still got to work, right? There's tons of scripture that talks about, you know, those who lazy, who don't want to work, what the Most High's judgment is for them, right? As far as for putting in that effort. I'm not talking about going out there and just doing carpentry. We're talking about doing the work for the Most High, right? That's a priority. I didn't say you don't need to do that, but there's a priority. But the Most High tells you in the spirit, Paul tells us in the spirit of the Most High, therefore, my beloved brethren, 1 Corinthians 15:58, be ye steadfast, right? Be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of Yahweh. So you got to consistently try to do things to keep active, to keep forward moving, to don't let anything shake or rattle you. There's a couple times I've seen brothers and certain sisters that come in and they're in the truth, but every little thing rattles them. Every other little thing moves them, shakes them, gets them off their perch. They're doubting the scriptures. They're doubting the Most High. Well, this person said, we ain't got to do that no more. I don't know. What do you think? I'm like, what are you talking about? How did that move you? How did you get knocked off that quick? Now you doubting this? Nah, because until you get disciplined to consistently root yourself in, then this will not be embedded in your heart. It won't be something that you now can see the mark. And then as you see the mark, you got to abound. Abound is to kind of keep elevating, keep ascending, keep rising, keep learning, right? Keep doing whatever it is in order to make sure that your levels increase, right? Your fruits of the spirits increase, your knowledge increases, your wisdom increases, right? You can't be the same way you was 2 years ago or a year ago. You want to say, well, I was here last month. I done step up a little bit. I done stepped up a little bit, right? In the carnal world, people kind of do that, right? They always want to surround themselves with people so they can move from one thing to the next. I need to get that. My goal is to get 100,000. My goal here is to get this. I need to learn that, right? To constantly keep doing things, constantly going back, getting degrees, constantly going back, getting this certification, because they kind of keep building. So when people look at their resume, they're like, yo, this guy got 15 certifications. He got two master's degrees. He's working on a PhD. This guy's working. He's doing things. Whereas someone who's just got a high school diploma, he's going to be looked down upon as like, oh, this guy's got a high school diploma, right? That's the worldly vision. In the spiritual realm, the Most High Yahweh Shah is also looking for you to continuously increase and abound in the spirit, right? That's where the parable of the talent and the tokens comes in. We've been given this opportunity as gift. We now have to abound and increase, and you see it through your work, right? Or others will see it on you, right? Like not to put them on the spot, but I seen it in the brother yesterday, right? It's like, man, brother kind of humbled me. I was like, yo, this, cool, poised, came out with nice bait to hook him in and reel him and question. I was like, yo, that's what's up, right? Because now for me, as any brother who's in the truth, when you see other brothers coming up and getting on that level, you feel proud. You're like, yo, not only are we getting to the 144, right? But now we're getting close to that number. But like Yahushua said, the harvest is plenteous, labors is few. So we got to have more laborers. I'm like, yo, this is how this brother doing great things up there in Canada and wherever else. You feel confident. You're like, all right, cool, we good there. Whereas it's just not one brother and other brothers come around, but they just here. They're not abounding and not kind of take that step forward to do what Yahushua has apprehended them to do. Not me, right? This is not about me or any brother individual. It's Yahushua that's apprehending you, that has now chosen you to go and do certain things. So you have to look at it that way. Who's that, quiet?
And also, it revolves back around us as the teachers, because we know Israel, they always look for somebody to follow.
Mm-hmm.
You're always looking for a model, always looking for an example. And they gravitate to Yahushua because Yahushua is great. So there's always a cliche in the world, like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? That cliche is the other way around. It's like we all teachers. We all teachers and we all students at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
As we teaching, we learning, right? So we all students and all teachers at the same time. So it's kind of like a lot of stuff that people say in the world. It's really, when you question them, it don't really make sense, right? And to say that is like we learning from the people in the classroom, and they learning from us. We all students and teachers at the same time. But most importantly, when the teacher is great, the student will be willing to listen and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Because Yahushua, they look for Yahushua wherever Yahushua was. They pick up and go. A whole lot of people follow. So it revolves around us to take matters and start moving forward, and then people, they will fall in line because they want this, but they looking for the leaders who step up.
Right.
To be that example.
Right. Meaning with that comes proper structure, effort, right? It's like Yahushua, when you read on how he dealt with the 12 and then how he dealt with the multitudes, sure, Yahushua had spiritual power, but he still taught the men how to handle and deal with the circumstances that was going to happen. As far as hey, you'll go out, take this, don't take much, take only this, take this, or we got to go here, we need to bring some food, we need to go do this. You got to think about all of that, right? Sometimes you get into one mode, but you're not thinking about that, or you're not thinking about this. Right. You have to think about everything, right? Not just, okay, what scriptures I'm going to bring or what I'm going to do for this service, what I'm going to do when I go to camp. No, you got to think about the little things, right? Man, we got to get things for the bathroom, right? I got sisters coming here. Is the bathroom gonna be working? Then all of a sudden you get sisters coming here and the bathroom working, and it's like, what the heck is that, right? Now it's the reflection on Yahushua, right? Because it's not just a reflection on us; it's a reflection on Yahushua. It's like, what kind of thing is this? This is the truth. They ain't got a working bathroom. These brothers ain't think. So all of that, just from the smallest things to the greatest things, we have to take into account. In order to have a good balance and a good structure for anybody that's going to be here, right?
I just want to add on what you were saying earlier about as far as the law, about as far as being, any little thing come along, brother just get knocked off, and they do plenty of excuse, not to keep the law. Joshua chapter 1 verse 8, 8 and 9 reads, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy ways prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Verse 9, have not I commanded thee, be strong and of good courage, be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whether thou goest, whithersoever thou goest. So always got to remember, to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments no matter where we go, no matter where we are, what we do. Always remind us, every little thing, everywhere we look. That's pretty much just what I do now. Everywhere I go, I look for something that remind me of the law. Any conversation that I have, somebody say something to me, scriptures pop in my head, and pretty much it's just always stay focused in the spirit. No matter what is it, whether I'm at work, whether I'm in the street, whether I'm driving, whether I'm at home watching TV, whatever the case may be, I always look for something to always remind me. So I'm always in the law no matter what I do. And as far as, some of these people out there that comes in the truth, that comes in and out, or people out there in the world that see the law, they read it and they find ways not to do it. It's because a lot of them either they scared or to offend somebody, because nowadays it seems like if you keep the law, you're offending somebody out there. If you keep the Sabbath, if you tell somebody, I don't eat pork, you're offending them. So, and they more of a man pleaser than anything else. So that's why it's very important to know why we're doing this. Who not only we're doing it for the Most High, we do it for ourselves. We're looking for salvation. We're looking to have a part in the tree of life. We're looking to get back to that. So that's why I like to say in the world, you need the why. Why do you need this? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to make this much money? So it's the same thing applies to the truth. Why do I want to do this? If your why is big enough, you'll be successful. So that's the main thing I do, and I encourage every brother and sister out there that's whichever laws that they're struggling with, whichever laws that they're having a hard time with, that you have to tell yourself, ask yourself, what is my why? Why am I doing this? And I'm pretty sure the Holy Spirit, the scripture will give you that comfort that you need to find out your why. Understand why you're doing, why I wake up every day, why I keep the Sabbath, why am I keeping the new moon, why am I following the dietary laws, why I wake up every day, do what I do. It has to be, your why has to be big. So I encourage every one of you look for that why and look towards the scripture to give you that why.
This kind of goes into a few weeks ago when I was talking about the who, what, where, and why, right? Those asked that question pertaining to anything, right? So that goes to the same thing, even yourself. Like the scripture tell you to examine yourself, whether you be in the faith, right? That's where that comes into the examination of yourself, to kind of reflect on where you are, what you're doing, and you sit back and you say, okay, am I doing what I need to do, right? And if you are, then you can start thinking about, well, what more can I do, right? Or how can I get to this thing over here, right? Or where do I need to now go focus, or what things like all of those questions, when you self-examine, they kind of fall right in line with what Kahan is talking about right now.
It's like you kind of want to pick your own mark, right? Like in the world, it's all about competition. But what we fail to realize with dealing with the Most High, we in our own space, right? We in our own space, and there's no competition. Nobody can come in that circle, right? The Israelite circle is our own space,
right?
So not worry if sometimes we play defense rather than offense. We got to keep pushing forward, like you were saying.
Right.
We got to keep pushing forward, knowing that we have no competition. But the minute that we start worrying about Esau, the other nations, then that's when we start, doubting ourselves, because the Most High himself, he said he's by himself, right? Can nobody,
no one beside him.
No one beside him. And we are his offspring. So what should we, worry about?
Right.
All we got to do is whatever things we got to work on, like you were saying, examine ourselves and see where we are, fix what needs to be fixed, ask the Most High to give us more courage on things that we need to do that we feel, weak about and we have a lack. Give us understanding and give us the comfort to move forward, to keep pushing forward.
Right. That's where the scripture in James, to add on to what you're saying, basic scripture, James James 3. Give me 1 second, man. So like 1 John 3 and 22, when it says, and whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things which are pleasing in his sight. So if you are striving to be righteous, striving to do the will of the Most High, wherever it is you lack, you can pray to the Most High and he'll aid you because you're doing what he's asking for you to do, right? He'll aid you. Now you can't be, put the Most High on a timetable. So, I've been doing what I've been, continually doing this, and I was up 14 hours reading. I'm going to pray, and then within a week I should get an answer. We learned from the testimony they read in Judith, where men were trying to put the Most High on the timetables. Like, we don't hear back from like a week, then we're going to take matters into our own hand. No, the Most High knows exactly when you should receive whatever blessing or spiritual gift or whatever carnal gift that he wants to provide for you. He knows when you need it, what time you should receive it, what measure he should give it to you in order to further on your fruits of the Spirit, right? Because if you're doing the will of the Most High, keeping his commandments, those fruits of the Spirit is what's going to keep you, right? So sometimes it needs to wait. It needs to wait in order for that to build up, right? So that you can now have that filled up in you, that you now say, okay, now when I receive it, you value it more. It's much more precious and sacred to you. In the world, people go through certain things, carnal things where they have goals and they go through the fire and all the trials and tribulations, and they get to the end and they value the end much more. As a person who, more so like Esau, who receives everything that they want, they don't value it as much, right? They happily just use it. Whereas the other person, they can look back and say, man, look, I remember when I didn't have this, or I remember when I had to go through this. Now that I got it, I'm going to make sure all that I learned while I was on that journey before I got there, I'm going to use all that experience in order to sustain it, right? So that I can continue on. And that's where this endurance race is, right? That's what that endurance race is, because in the marathon, you are going to get a Charlie horse. Mm-hmm. You are going to lose your breath. You are going to get parched. But how do I continue to keep going on and learn from when I used to play basketball? That was one thing that I learned really early on. I used to play ball. I haven't played for a while. I caught a Charlie horse. I was like, yo, I got a Charlie horse. Play through it. Play through it. Man, you don't know how. Listen, play through it. Keep running. Keep going. I was like, man. Kept going up and down the court, and sure enough, what happened? It wore off, right? But someone had to tell me, keep going. Keep pushing through it. Don't give up, because that's what you want to do. You're like, yo, time out. You got to get a sub. I need a sub. Somebody got to come in. I got to go sit in the sideline. You sit on the sideline now. While you on the sideline, somebody else came and took your place. They playing. Yeah. They looking good. They don't need you to come in no more. It's like, all right, I'm ready to come back. Nah, you good. You stay down there. We got our person now. We good. You got to continue to play through it and fight through it.
This is the power of adversity. I mean, adversity got power in it.
Yeah.
And Esau is there for a specific reason. Right? Sometimes we wish things would get better, but at the moment we're in a situation, that's what we need to get stronger. Right? And if we wallowing in that situation and keep complaining instead of taking steps, following the scriptures and ask for guidance from the Most High, then we're gonna continue to be in that same circle until we find a solution right here and then move forward. But otherwise, year in, year out, we're gonna still be in that circle, and then we're gonna keep complaining. Right? So the goal is to, because if we think about it, Esau is necessary. The other nations are necessary the way they are right now. Mm-hmm. Just as you know, we have, I wouldn't even say they enemies. I would say they adversaries, right? They adversaries. It's like in a boxing match. Before the opponents get in the ring, they shake hands. But as soon as they sound the ring, they start punching each other, right? At the end, one win, one lose, and then they shake hands again. It's the same thing that we in with Esau, right?
Right. But before they even start the match, before they go and box, you studied your opponent.
Exactly.
You got to go watch the tape, right? Know what they like, what they don't like, their weaknesses, their strengths, right, so that you can plan an attack, plan a game plan on how to defend and go on the offense at the right time against your opponent. Right. It's the same thing spiritually with us, right? Because when we go out there and we deal with not only just Esau, but any of the nations, even our own at this point, you kind of have to have that game plan of, all right, I see how they are right now. I'm not going to go on the offense. I'm going to do a rope-a-dope. I'm just going to be leaning back, seeing what they got, letting them swing, tire themselves out, and then I come in. Or, depending on the circumstance ahead, I'm coming out swinging because I know he's weak. He can't. He starts slow. He starts his fight slow. I got to come. So, but you know that because you've studied your opponent. The Most High has given us the game plan. This is how Ishmael is. It's how Moab. This is what Moab done. This is what Ham's history is, and how they've dealt with you, and how they don't deal with you. And this is what, you know, Elam is. So we have all of that. We have the history. We have the testimonies of what we've done. Now it's like, okay, God, you just got to strategize. And the Most High gives us a strategy, right? He's the coach. Yahushua is the coach. He gives us a strategy. This is what you need to do when you go out there. Just implement the game plan. If you watch boxing like I do, sometimes what happens, people go out there, the game plan is implemented, 4 rounds. 5th round, they get hit with a good shot, boom. Game plan is out the door. I'm just going. And he's like, nah, stick to the game plan. He's like, yo, just throw the jab. I keep telling you, throw the jab. You're not throwing the jab. Because they became movable.
Sometimes we just turn around and think the world game, right? The world game plan. Yeah. We forget about the Most High's game plan. The Most High give us. Now we're playing the world game plan.
Yeah.
And then talking about boxing, I think Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So even then, sometimes they get punched in the face and they automatically deviate from their plan. They've been planning for the last 6 months for this fight.
Yeah. And
as soon as they get the first hit, oh man, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
So
listen, I don't want to go into it, but speaking of him, and it coincides with even what you read in Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, right? He said, when he used to go in before they even announced it, his whole game plan was mental. He said his walk to the ring, if you remember Mike Tyson used to walk, he used to have the black shoes, the black trunks, just a towel on. He used to walk with the look. And he'd get in the ring, and he said, I knew I was going to have a fight won just when I first made eye contact with my opponent, right? Just when I looked at him. And you know how Mike used to have that menacing look. And he looked at him, and he says, if he didn't want to look at me, or if he looked at me and looked down, I already had him. He was broken. His spirit was already done. Before I even touched gloves, I already knew. Same thing when you read Ezekiel. He says, listen, you ain't going to a regular people. When you go out there, man, I'm going to try to make your face more adamant than theirs. So that, because they coming. They come with all kind of spirits, all kind of looks. So that when you now go into the fight, before the battle even starts, before they even utter a word, they come in. And, you know, we out there camp, or you with somebody, you could just look at their spirit and just say, okay, either you will be afraid of whatever you think they have, or listen, man, there's nothing you can say to me that's going to move me. I don't care what it is. And I remember learning that at a very early age. Is my first moment in the truth, where we was at camp and had a Muslim brother who was very reputable downtown Newark. Hey, he had a name. And I was a young brother, but I just had milk. And he came up, and I just listened to him and listened to him and listened to him. I put his foot in his mouth that one. He put his foot in his mouth that one. And he had a crowd of followers. And I just started dealing with him. And then he couldn't answer back. And I was like, I was surprised, but I wasn't afraid. I wasn't shook based on whatever knowledge he had. One brother left, one brother left, one brother left, one brother. He was standing there by himself. And then he kind of just cowered away. Now I stood there. I was by myself while the brother was still at camp. I was by myself, and I looked at it. I was like, dang, this brother who was, you know, all world, like everybody looked at him a certain way. I was like, dang, just with the little milk that I had. So what that told me was that scripture in Ezekiel, if I didn't have that, no fear in me, I would have cowered. I would have cowered and just like gave in. And once you cower, you don't have the Most High Spirit, because Yahweh said, I'm going to put my words in your mouth. But when you doubt and you don't have that confidence, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. You're gonna get broken. You're gonna be made a fool of. Right? I think it tells you that in Jeremiah, because you didn't have that, the Most High gonna have you look like a fool out there. So, what I wanted to read in Luke, to piggyback off what Manny said, in Luke 11, as far as for us now stepping up, it says Luke 11:33. No man, when he hath lighted a candle, put it in a secret place, neither under a bushel, but on the candlestick, that they which come in may see the light. Right? We got to be like those men walking as trees. Right? We have to be that way. So that means in order for us to walk as trees, we have to exemplify Yahushua and the Most High on a higher level, meaning doing much more than what we have been doing. And that means whatever the Spirit moves you to do, right? It's a lot of times we just talk about it, right? James 1:22, be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. So you just have to just do. It's plain and simple. I mean, I made a joke of it, you know, the Nike symbol, the Nike slogan, I mean, just do it. So, you know, we've come a long way, but now it's time to press forward. And Most High's will, he'll give us the opportunity, the time, the resources. We need to pray on those things. The next thing that I'm looking to implement this summer, get back to what we used to do before. It's for same thing with the services, even starting to do school fast. I'm gonna try to come up with a date where we're gonna do a collective school fast. I don't know if it'll be a succession of weeks like we used to do. Maybe we'll just start off with one day, we pick a day, and then everybody's gonna fast, right? To kind of bring us back together collective on a unified front, so that we can now show the Most High that we're humbling ourselves before him, that he can now provide for us in a different way that we haven't been doing before, right? And then the same thing for other endeavors that we want to do. Certain things as far as for even just having brotherhood, having not only relying on high holy days and Sabbath services to come together, but coming together on a normal day, like how the scriptures say the Most High has created high days and other days is normal day. We can come together on a normal day, have a go out to a restaurant if we choose, or go to someone's house, have a barbecue or cookout or something, come out. We need to do those things because it's just not a weekend thing. It's just not a high holy day thing. It has to be an everyday thing, right? So that they'll see others who are of brothers and family of one another in a different light, right? So that, you know, say, oh, that's the brother that's in your church. Oh, okay. I think I've seen him somewhere before. I didn't know he was in your church. Yeah, right? So that we can start to identify with society as, or our family and friends as people who are pillars in this church as well as society. So there's a lot of things that we need to just kind of, you know, take a different perspective, a different direction, and just move forward.
We don't have to take a diagnostic of what's going on now, and then create a framework of action going forward.
Yep.
So, you know, point in case everything that needs to be done, and then create that framework of action for our implementation.
Right.
And everybody got to step up And those who don't step up, you just left behind. You got to keep moving forward.
All right, so let me get scripture here on the new moon here. Psalms 81. How is it? Psalms 81. 1-4. Where it says, sing aloud unto Yahweh our strength, make a joyful noise unto the power of Jacob. All right. So singing aloud isn't always just, actual singing, right? Just the high praises and the camaraderie and the brotherhood, the fellowshipping one another, is the singing aloud of those praises unto the Most High, right? Because the Psalms themselves can be looked at as a song, but there's a lot of information, there's a lot of commandments, there's a lot of testimony that's in there that we discuss one amongst another. And that builds that spirit within us so that we're in perfect harmony with the Lord and the Most High and Yahweh Shah. So, I'm not a singer. So it's not like, hey, we haven't had a singer in the school for a while, so we've been reading the scriptures, so we kind of fell short. No, the singing is us following in these scriptures and communing with them one another, right? That's how we sing the high praises to the Most High and Yahweh Shah, not just in song. Because if that were the case, what's in the churches, they would have been a step ahead of us. They got some great singers in there, right? But they don't have that right spirit. They're not understanding and breaking down and edifying the words that they're reading from the scriptures the right way, right? It says, take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery, right? So taking these words and surrounding it with the right acoustics, right? Take the psalm, pick any one of them, right? And so I was talking with my brother about Buju Banton, right? I think Buju Banton, he fell victim to the trap they set for him a few years ago when they caught him in that drug thing. I think he's supposed to be coming out, but I was listening to when I was cooking the lamb for the Passover. I was listening to the Buju Banton album, and he has a lot of psalms and things that he's made into an actual song, and they're heavy. I was like, man, this is kind of nice, man. You take the right words and put the right spirit around it, it's on another level, right? Especially when you implement it, right? So here is something that you see Israel doing on a higher level in these past few years, and being able to share that through the power of the internet. Where you go on YouTube, you go on certain sites, you see brothers in different camps making R&B songs, making rap songs that are spiritual and righteous and positive. It says, blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. So we know we had the commandment in Numbers, the 10th chapter, whereas on the new moons, the Sabbaths, and the solemn feast, that we always blow up the trumpet. Even going to war or what have you, we always blow up the trumpet because that was a sign also between us and the Most High that when we did that, the Most High would be present with us, that he would aid us if we needed, or he'd be a part of the fellowshipping on those days. Verse 4 says, for this was a statute for Israel and a law of the power of Jacob, right? So this is what we got, what we received from Moses and Aaron in the wilderness coming out of Egypt as part of the law that we're supposed to work and keep throughout our generations, because we made that covenant with the Most High. So even with the new covenant is still going to have those same laws, right? Most people don't realize that when they think about the new covenant, the New Testament, they think, oh, it's just a whole totally new covenant. But no, it's dealing with the same laws. You read down, it's I'm going to put the law in your inward parts. Not a new thing, it's the same laws from before, right? It's just a lack of understanding or reading further down to comprehend and digest that it's always been us. We just have to get ourselves together and get it right in order for us to stand before the Most High as a perfect servant and soldier. So you have something?
I'm just gonna add to what you just said about in terms of it's the same old laws, that's going to come when Yahushua returns. Nothing as far as the law is still going to be the same. I want to pull up Isaiah 66 and verse 23. That reads, it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come worship before me, said the Lord. So it's the same laws. Nothing's going to change. We're still going to have to keep the Sabbath. We're still going to have to keep the new moon. We're still going to have to keep the high holy days. So it's the same thing right now. What we're doing is rehearsing, like I said, the righteous act, right? So it's the same old thing. We can also read about the same thing in Colossians 2:16. That reads, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, on respect of any holy days, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath, or of the moon, or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. So we could read this exact same thing in Isaiah. We're reading the exact same thing in Colossians. So nothing has changed.
Anybody else got any scriptures they want to pull out? Verses, comments they want to add in? So as we, ready to close out this service, keep in mind that, each beginning of a new year, going into the year is that such. It's a new year to go to new heights and new endeavors. Like we mentioned before, we're looking to make sure we stay true to our words and the things that we're looking to implement, to accomplish, to institute, coming further. And we're hoping that the body, the rest of the congregation and the brothers also following the same suit. We also pray for the strength that the Most High can give us and the resources to do all that we need to do. And then is based on what we've seen in the scriptures, the Old and New Testament, to pray for the peace from, the worldly endeavors, because sometimes the worldly endeavors can try to slow you down, right? Can try to hamper, put a damper on your spirits, or put a damper on the things that you're trying to implement. So, always we have to keep the Most High in our loop, right? And it's just not our thing. This is the Most High and Yahushua, and we come to them for the aid and help to guide us to doing the right things in the right spirit. And then that way, if we have that in mind, that it's just not our own, that we're using them as a guide, that we should be able to implement whatever that we decide to do in the spirit in a righteous manner, right?
Yeah, to add on to what you're saying is, while we, as Khan Manashah was bringing out, gotta have the purpose of why we're doing this. The purpose of what we're doing, it should be, strong and which is to make it to the kingdom, right? I mean, that should be everybody's purpose, right? To make it to the kingdom, and to make it to the kingdom is to keep the law to the end, right? And that should be the main focus. And as far as balancing things between while we're doing that in the world, all that must be balanced as well, right? You got to keep everything, but above all things, keep the ultimate purpose, and balance everything out. Personal lives, spiritual life, everything got to be in unison, because you cannot neglect one, and one is not balanced. It's gonna set you off track, right? If you're not, if you're stressing about, bills and things like that, of course it's gonna affect, how you start studying and things like that and doing the work. So you gotta keep everything balanced out and ask the Most High for strength and help, and keep doing things to get to where we gotta get, which is make it to the kingdom.
Fun. All right. So with that, we're gonna get ready to set up the closing prayers. Again, happy second new moon. Most High's will, everyone will be able to enjoy the day, as we ask for any day that we have for high holy day or feast day. If we do have to labor on this day. Try to the best of our abilities to remember, why we're keeping this day and why, what's the purpose behind it, even in the midst of, the unclean, the uncircumcised, and those who are not in the spirit of the things that we're doing. That we try to make sure that we do certain things. Sometimes when I'm at work or I'm in the area where a zone, I know it's just a lot of negative or unclean type spirits. I'll just try to just go and read some scriptures, just read a couple verses, read a couple chapters, just to remind myself, that I am separated, that I am someone that has been called by the Most High out of the midst of, a pool of wickedness, right? Which I was once a part of, and then it'll put me back in track, But sometimes you forget in the midst of it. But we ask the Most High to just send the angels to minister unto us every now and again, is to put that spirit in you, put that thought in your mind. Like Yahushua, even when he got a little weak, the Most High was able to send the angels to him to strengthen him, so that he can go through and endure, what he had to go through as far as for sacrificing himself on the cross. Right. So if that was something that heavy, something much lighter than what we're going through, we can ask the Most High to send us a helping hand and send us an angel to kind of just be there with us, or give us that thought, give us that encouragement, give us that strength to do whatever it is that we need to do.
And what most of us fail to realize is when thermonuclear destruction comes, and the worldly people who have the resources will already have underground where to hide, and they have their hide. I mean, if it wasn't for the Most High, where would we go?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we not in that realm. We as in, you don't even fit in this world to be have the resources to be part of them. Where would we go?
Yeah.
Right. We don't have any money to buy bunkers. We don't have any money to escape to go out of space to try to hide. Where would we go? That's our only hope, is the Most High coming with his chariot and take us, right, to escape what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, just on that alone, that it's a lot, because we don't have anything working in our favor as far as the world is concerned. We poor.
Jake and their carnalness, they would to give you an answer. Well, that's why I keep a white friend around. They got a bunker, so I'm going high with them. Yeah, as stupid, as silly as that sound, but that's how some of them will think.
And I see people very smart. They master the art of make it in the world, but they don't know what we know. How things.
That's
what give us an edge.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. That's why I said that's more so for us than them, because they don't have the belief. You'll have that fear, I should say, because they'll have someone who says, "Well, we all got to go sometime." Right? When that day comes, we all got to go. Okay. Right? They don't care, but they don't understand the significance of that judgment day. Right? They just look at it as a day. Well, that's just sitting that. No, there's much more than that. It's not just that simple. There's a different type of reckoning that's going to happen then that has not happened before. Right. People die, every day, every hour. Someone's past 10 minutes, somebody died somewhere in the earth, right? But this reckoning is going to be different. So that alone, with the knowledge that the Lord has given us, allows us to have a leg up and say, okay, all I got to do is just continue to do this. I avoid that. That's what it says in Revelations, on such the second death have no power, right? Those of us in this first resurrection, we have now conquered the second death, right? Same thing in 1 Corinthians 15. We've taken away the sting of death by saying if we can diffuse that power that it has over us, that hold that it has over us, to be willing to sin or fall victim to ignorant sin, then we're good, So,
and this is what I was saying earlier in terms of we should be glad we were chosen. He could have chose any other nation in the world, but he chose this nation here to be his people. And what advantage do we have over the other nations? There's an advantage of being the chosen.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you read Romans chapter 3, it reads, what advantage didn't have the Jews? Or what profit is there of circumcision? What's the profit of being a Jew? And what's the profit of knowing the laws? What's the big deal? Right? It said much every way. In every sense, every way you can think about it, there's an advantage. Right? Chiefly because that unto them we're committed the oracle of God. Like Samach just said, you know, the advantage that we have, we know how the outcome. They think we're just gonna die and this is it. Mm-hmm. They don't have that advantage that we have in terms we know it's like we have the script. Mm-hmm. We know how the movie ends. They're still watching the movie. They have no idea what the end's going, but we already know because we had the script in the very beginning. So that's the advantage that we have over all the other nations. And that's what we have to always remember. We have the upper hand, and for us to use it. A lot of us in the world don't know that. That's why we act the way we act on the street. So it's very good to always remember we were selected to be in the position that we are today.
All right. So with that, we're going to close out tonight's service. I'm going to say again, Happy New Moon, Ashar Kadash, to the second new moon. Lord's will, you'll have a Tawab remaining evening, and we'll see or hear each other during the upcoming classes this week, Most High's will. All right, so with that, Shalom Yashrala, and stay tuned for closing prayers.
Shalom.
Shalom. All right, somebody get the blinds.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, that give us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, with Israel.
Might I point you out, Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Babakushah, Shemai, Lanawa, Aitha, Yum Yun, Aitha, Shalat, Mayaka Allah, Waha Allahayim, Tazwadakim, La, Shemar Isle, Barak, Rapah, Magun, Waha Kaziyat, Banya, Yasha Allah, Washalat, Lanawa, Rabiam, Kakama, Rabiam, Da'ai, Rabiam, Bayana, Rabiam, Sabalanwa, Rabiam, I'm a one, Rabiam, Aqua, Rabiam, Ahabiam, Rabiam, Hagana, Rokhanaya, Wasalat, Ko, Kata Ayamnawa, Laha Akim, Wa Akiwa, Wa Yasha'ala, Tum Yad, Wa Iwalam, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, the water, Aman. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, pleases to us now, right now. Send Michael and the righteous powers or angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel. And send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive all our sins for the brothers and sisters and Israel always and forever. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. Prayer. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahasham,
Bahasham,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahushai,
Barak Noah,
Barak Noah,
Wayan Sha'ala,
Yasha'Allah,
Wabat Yasapariam,
Rabba Saparium,
Shema,
Shema,
Yasharallah,
Yasharallah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Allah Haynawa,
Allah Haynawa,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Akhad.
Akhad.
Right, blessing for the food. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Gadawal,
Gadawal,
Bahasham,
Bahasham,
Adawanya,
Adawanya,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahushai,
Babakusha,
Babakusha,
Barak,
Barak,
Ma'akom,
Ma'akom,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Shatayawa,
Shatayawa,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Yayan,
Yayan,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Lakam,
Lakam,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Shakara,
Shakara,
Rayanawa,
Yanawa,
Zakad,
Zakah,
Shol,
Shel,
Hayarak,
Hayarak,
Kadash,
Kadash,
Bahasham,
Bahasham,
Yahawashai,
Yahushai,
Thawada,
Tawada,
Amun.
Amen.
All right. All right. So we're going to say again, Shalom Yashrala, Shah Shabbat, Happy New Moon. Most as well, we'll hear or see everyone this week. Shalom. I can circle up.